Right, everybody. James and I have been looking for the last 20 minutes at the new rates of vehicle tax for the 1st of April. And we've been in and around the car game for a combined, what, 60, 70 years, James, between us?
Yeah, 1,000,005 years apparently.
Yeah, a million and 5 years. James is actually younger than he looks. He's just had a tough paper round.
Yeah,
But we are struggling to work this out. It is ambiguous, it is difficult to understand. Basically, your vehicle tax rate depends on how long you've owned the car or how old the car is. It depends on how much you paid for the car when new. I mean, it's a bloody minefield,
it
isn't
is.
it?
It is very much so. And electric vehicle owners who felt very smug no longer feel smug because they are no longer exempt from paying vehicle excise duty or car tax.
Well, that's what we've been told. But when you look at the thing, it still says CO2. If you've got zero CO2, you've still got, I can't see any charge for road tax on zero CO2.
No, EVs registered after the 1st of April date are only liable for a first year rate of £10 until 2029. But
So
but
they've got to pay 10 quid for the whole year.
Yeah, and then uh but until but then you've got the if you've got an expensive one, which they all seem to be, if it's £40,000 plus you've paid, that's the expensive car supplement.
Okay.
You would have to pay £425 a year. So that's the luxury
What,
car.
every year or just the first year?
No, every year.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Right. And so also EVs registered between the 1st of April 2017 and the 31st of March 2025 will now
yeah,
have to pay the same standard rate of car tax, which is £195 a year. So there's a basic £195 a year comes across for everybody. So
that's what I pay for the little Leon.
yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, you got to feel for the people that go and buy. Well, no, you probably don't have to feel for them because they're probably buying a very expensive car and couldn't give a monkeys about the road tax.
Yeah.
But anyone buying a vehicle over 255 grams of CO2
Mm.
has got to pay 2,745 quid for the first year's road tax.
Yeah. That's a colossal amount of money.
It is when you consider the amount of potholes everybody has to drive through every day.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's just disgusting.
All cars emitting 1 to 50 grams of CO2. And I must point out that CO2 is a naturally occurring gas. It's not a poison. We'll see the first year tax bill rise to £110. And so, yeah, even ones which are not very polluting, so they seem you'll be paying money out. So yeah, currently it's like hybrids in this band pay zero VED for the first year, whilst petrol and diesel cars pay £10. New cars emitting between 51 to 75 grams of CO2 will see the taxing increase from £30 to £135. Keep reading this, and you'd need some expert to hold your hand as you did it because nothing is clear. It's as clear as mud. And this is obviously a very deliberate policy to make it quite baffling. Um,
Yeah.
and as you say, yeah, for very rich people who've got accountants and so forth, it doesn't really matter very much because this is just another minor inconvenience. But for people who just want to buy a car because their old one's broken down and they need a reliable one to get to work using before 2017, after 2017. So it's another thing to think about when you go and buy a car. It's in a way it's something you shouldn't have to think about. Once upon a time it was a flat fee.
Seems to me that they make everything so impossibly difficult. It just seems that they make everything so difficult. I don't understand why it has to be so complicated all the time.
It is a bit like our tax codes are so complicated. It's a bit like the tax regime really should be on one side of A4. and it isn't. It's a bit like this. This should be a sentence, really. You pay this much tax on your car, and that's it. And obviously, we can have the
We can
debate.
screenshot these for people, James.
Yeah,
And this is the other one. Is it upside down? No.
no, I don't think so. Yeah, there you go. Tax it or lose it. It says there. Uh, at this rate, you might as well lose it because people do lose it when they see what the taxes are spent on because they're not spent on the roads, are they?
No.
That's the issue.
Jesus Christ, we could go on a 3 hour rant about the misappropriation of funds and the dreadful state of the roads and everything else. I mean,
This, but I don't think a lot of people realise how complicated this has suddenly become. I think people are aware that something happening, but most people are going about their daily lives, earning money, dealing with stuff, and really they shouldn't have to worry about this too much because
no, they shouldn't. But you know what,
no,
James? There's going to be a whole heap of people that come to retax their cars after April the
mm,
1st. They're going to get the shock of their lives. You know, the road
mm,
tax is double.
yeah,
And the government really doesn't do a great deal to inform people about this, doesn't give them any opportunity to perhaps sell their car before it comes. You know, they're buggered basically. They've got to tax it or lose it. And it can make a big difference to people. Very frustrating. It's hugely frustrating.
well, what are the ways around this then?
Well, that's a good question. Well, the first thing is put your car into, well, put your reg number in and find out how much your tax is going to be.
mm,
If it's something that you're not willing to pay or reticent to pay, then obviously you need to change cars. So I think, James, we need to come up with a list of cars that are going to be cheaper to tax after the 1st of April
yeah,
that we would recommend and that we sanction as decent cars, provided they go out and, you know, follow our rules on how to buy a car.
yeah,
And then maybe we can help people reduce their road tax bill that way. But I think we need to do something, mate, because I mean, looking at this, we've been in this game for donkey's years, and we're
mm,
looking at this and scratching our heads.
yeah,
So, you know, your average Joe who doesn't really give a monkeys about cars is just looking to get around cheaply to get to his job, get to pick his kids up or her
mm.
kids up, whoever. You know, they're going to look at this and they're just going to think, what the hell is this? I mean, genuinely, James, they couldn't have made this any more fucking complicated if they tried.
No, no, that's it. But it is a deliberate policy to sort of make you not understand. I mean, it should be so much simpler than this. But I think it's all part of the agenda. It's all part of the climate agenda to make you aware of CO2. And as I've already said, CO2 is not the issue. It's not a problem. But they've made it into a problem. They've made it into a debate. And it isn't great. And there isn't well, we think actually there is a way out of this, and I think we are going to come up with some sort of quite clever ways where we might be able to think around this problem. I mean, a really obvious one is just to buy a car that's over 40 years old. But the problem is with a car that's over 40 years old is it's not necessarily very good or appropriate for the job that you want to use it for. And
There is that.
yeah, that's right. And I suspect in a few years' time they'll have a classic car tax because they'll just think the people that have classic cars are not our sort of people. So let's make them suffer as well. I'm waiting for that, and then you can probably only use them at the weekend. They say, oh, you can park them in a field and get your deck chairs out. So we'll allow you to do that, but it will cost you a couple of £100 a year or something. So I'm sure that's coming, but. I think it is possible, and yeah, Bradley and I, what we will do is
Hang on.
we'll go through this, and we'll make a proposal up that yeah, for normal average motorists, how you can actually save, and what are the particular cars that we think that you should be looking at, because incredibly, some cars are better than others. So yeah,
Yes.
we're going to be
Would you?
recommending.
It's like some governments are better than others.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah,
So
we
we're
can do something with this. So this is just a video just to say this is awful. But unlike other people, we won't just go away and forget about it. We will go away and come back with some very concrete proposals to make life
yeah,
better.
basically, we're getting dicked again, but we are determined to come up with some solutions that will help people and maybe we can find some clever ways around you getting shafted, and come up with some decent cars that you can go and buy and hopefully run economically and without getting financially screwed.
Yeah. So you'll have to tune back in for that one.
Please like and subscribe.